such amendment into law in March of 2023, expressing certain provisions of the open meeting law. This public meeting of the Town of Bolton Conservation Commission is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but the public can access this meeting while in progress by Zoom Video Communications, Inc. Members of the public attending this meeting virtually will be allowed to make comments if they wish to do so during the portion of the hearing designated for public comment by telephone, cell phone, or personal computer using Zoom. Some guidelines for participants: please utilize the chat or raise hand function if you wish to address the board. Participants will remain on mute until they have been addressed by the board, and participants are required to display first and last names. All of that said, per tradition, we will start with a roll call of present members. I am Brian Barabee.
Sue Mitra.
Paul Brandwold.
Jim Gardy.
Laura Stevenson.
Scott Gear.
Okay. Excuse me. First up this evening, the Bolton Conservation Commission will now continue the public hearing under Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Bolton Bylaw, Chapter 233, to discuss a request for determination of applicability for 253 South Bolton Road. Lauren, is the app or one of the reps for the app here this evening?
Yep. Will Fearson is here tonight, the applicant.
Okay. So when we last met, for members of the public joining us, we had scheduled a site visit to go out and take a look at this project in the field. We did have a chance to do so last Monday. I think, do we have I know Rebecca had some of her site visit notes, I believe, in the folder. Curious to get the thoughts of members who were able to attend, but I'll just give my initial impressions. They have a limited strip going out where they're hoping to put the shed. It's on an impervious surface. I believe they said gravel surface. So just put down a regular gravel surface, put the shed on top of that. They had marked out in the field about what the size would be. Again, they're working with limited amount of room. This is kind of existing yard. They realize they need to still get to the wellhead behind it. I was relatively comfortable with the placement of where the shed was. And again, especially seeing how it was non-pervious, where it was going to be placed. Sometimes we'll talk about watershed coming off the roof of the shed, and capturing that and sending it a certain way. Where they're proposing the shed, it's probably best just letting it sheet off and flow back down, as far as I could tell. There was one tree they really wanted to have removed. It was kind of dying anyways, and it kind of was in the way of where the retaining wall they're possibly proposing is. I was fine with the removal of that tree. Excuse me. A big part of the plan, and I'll get other commission members who were on site to get their thoughts on this, was the fill and leveling of the backyard so they could increase the patio. That one was difficult for me. It's really set so the backyard really kind of slopes down in a funnel to where the wetland resource area is. It was going to require a fair, I'm not an engineer, so I want to say like a 6 or 7 foot high retaining wall. And then they were even estimating about 250 square yards of fill, and not one I'd be really comfortable agreeing to without really seeing engineered plans. I know Rebecca had suggested that possibly wanted to go out and take a look and see what it actually looked like in the field. And it really is, to me, at least, it looked like it was significant enough amount that you would need to wall and fill that I think it should probably come on an engineered plan. But I want to get the thoughts of other commission members who were on the site visit. Anything to add? Anyone who is there?
Brian? Yeah, I would agree. I think we need an engineered plan for that, because that is a big amount of fill that needs to go in. And I'd really be curious to understand how, what the retaining wall is going to look like for that. So yeah, I think engineered plan is kind of where we should go.
Yeah,
others have thoughts. All right.
Yeah,
and part of it was again being in the field, that the amount that wall's looking to hold back, if that wall fails or gives, you're basically just filling in that whole low point right there. So it's hard for us to sign off on that. Let me talk. Let me ask the applicants real quickly, and I can open it up to commission members for other questions first. But do you understand kind of what we're getting at?
Yeah, I guess to start off with, I had sent it the landscaper we're working with. I'm not sure if you received it before the meeting. I emailed it over this morning, and it was a copy of the plans, and it kind of shows the boulder wall in some of the existing elevations and grades. I guess just to clarify, the wall is going along the fringe of that yard. We're not necessarily filling in that low point behind the house. So the wall, if you look at the map, it follows like the fringe of the existing yard. So it only extends, I'd say, like 6 or 7 feet past where that metal fence was that I first showed you.
Right,
And
right.
it bends along that. And the other thing too is about half of that spot, I think is, per the map, is outside the buffer zone. So a lot of that fill is going to be outside the 100 feet area anyways. But I just want to make sure it's known. We're not filling in the massive depression in the land there. And I agree, the 245 yards of fill seems to be an overestimate. That includes, I think, the entire shed pad in that whole peninsula where the shed's going to be, which includes gravel, loam, pretty much all of the materials. So I guess, I took a quick look into it myself, and it said something like 12 to 15 dump truck fulls, which seems definitely in excess. So yeah, I just want to clarify where that wall is going there. Yep, you can see it right on the
Sure.
map. Yeah.
Sure. I always have to be careful with this one because I am not an engineer. I want to make that clear. But the 12 dump truck fulls, like that might be right. You got a lot of fill there to make that flat. A lot of fill there. So like 12 to 15 dump trucks might be the right thing. And I understand the fill is going, towards the house, not on the other side of the wall, and the wall catches the fringe right before the real drop off to the low point.
Yeah.
But that's when stuff becomes jurisdictional to us, where with this design, if that wall were to fail, it would be catastrophic to the resource area. So anything that's kind of up on a hill right above a resource area, I believe the bylaw still gives us jurisdiction over for that reason, just to make sure that if something's going in there, it is not, we don't run the risk of it failing. And I did see the new plans that had come in. It gave the elevations and everything, but
Sure.
with the amount of weight, the size of that wall and the amount of weight that wall is going to be holding, I think we'd really want to see something engineered, which, and to be clear, would require the filing of an NOI, a notice of intent. The NOI would also require you to have to let all your abutters know what you're planning to do so they could be present for meetings, because it will be a big change back there. I'm not sure how that would affect your neighbors' yards. It probably wouldn't, possibly wouldn't. But again, that's a lot of fill going in back there. And again, that was kind of my takeaway. Well, let me open it up to if there are any other questions or comments from members of the commission first off. And not seeing any. And let me ask, are there any members of the public here tonight to comment on this particular hearing? And again, not seeing any. All right. So it kind of leaves us with two options, Mr. Pearson. And again, I'll put it out to the full commission. It seemed like those of us who were out there were kind of in agreement that, especially the fill and regrading and the retention wall should be part of an NOI. I think we were comfortable with the shed and the tree removal. I think we would possibly have the option, and Lauren, correct me if I'm wrong, that we could vote on the RDA tonight and say we were comfortable with this aspects of it, but we're not allowing these other aspects of it. Thus closing out the RDA. You could get into the shed if you want. You can remove the tree, all of that, and then you can come back at a later date with the full plans for what that fill will look like. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess, so when you said, just to clarify, engineered plans, so what we had submitted, hold on. Hey, Teddy, over there. So I apologize. I'm solo
You're fine.
parenting tonight. My wife is on a work trip. Ted, I'm on a call.
I've been there.
Apologies.
Mm-mm.
I lost my train of thought now.
Sorry, you were talking about engineered plans and what that might look like.
Engineer plans. Thank you. So the plans I'd submitted by the architect, are those don't qualify for engineered plans? It would need to be something else, I guess. What is it?
Yeah, I think we'd want to see the load level on the wall, what it's being like the amount of weight it's being engineered to hold back, and probably a greater estimate on the amount of fill coming in. And again, it's something that we'd want. Well, if it's done via NOI, it's something we'd want the abutters to be notified of as well.
Okay. And is that true? Is that typically true of like excavator walls? Because when we originally designed this wall, it wasn't supposed to be like an engineered wall. I think it was supposed to be 4 feet and below. Like it was supposed to just be a boulder wall with like a retaining wall that way.
It just seemed out in the field when you looked at your backyard in order to level that. I mean, it just kind of went down to the bottom there. So you're going to need a heavy wall, a wall at least at the back of the right in the back of the backyard. That's going to be a relatively high wall. And again, even if it's a shorter wall, that's fine. But the amount of weight you're putting behind it, it's got to be strong enough to hold that weight.
Okay.
Which is hard to do on a landscaping plan. It can be done. I think we have seen it done. But again, that's looking, I think that wall is doing some heavy lifting. And again, I could be totally wrong on this. It's just from what we've saw in the field. And it seems like the other people who are out there are kind of in agreement with that.
Okay. So the load level on the wall, you said, and is there anything else that the plans need to? Because I guess I can see if that's something that we can take care of with these or add that criteria.
Yeah, it might be something they can basically to show the strength of the wall. And again, I know you have an estimate of the amount of fill, which might be found. Generally would like something, a little well, not to exceed, I guess would work. And the other thing I would say too is it's always possible to reach out to Rebecca or Lauren tomorrow. If you inform Rebecca, she might be able, she is far better at kind of walking you through exactly what these plans would need. And yes, you can do it on this, just ask for XYZ, or she might be able to guide you better than I can on this, honestly.
Okay. So I'll take that forward then and see if I can get something amended to those plans. Okay. And you said it's definitely the portion of the grading will require a letter of intent. But the portion of it, the shed and the removal of the tree could possibly be considered.
I think we could vote. And again, I got to put it out to the commission members too to see how others are feeling. But if people are comfortable, I think that part of it we can vote on tonight.
Okay.
Kind of deny the rest of the RDA. That way, this is closed and done. The shed and the tree are there, and then you can resubmit an NOI for the rest. Basically, is that all right? And commission members comfortable with that? Does that make sense to other individuals?
Yep.
Okay. All right. In that case, I'm going to make a motion that we close the public hearing for the determination of applicability for 253 South Bolton Road, map 2.C, parcel 80. Do I hear a second for closing?
Second.
All right. All those in favor, starting with Sue.
Aye.
Paul.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Lori.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
And Lauren, I'm an aye as well. All right. See if I can get this in correctly. I'd like to make a motion that we, the commission issue a -3 determination for the request for determination of applicability to 253 South Bolton Road, with the following condition: that while the shed placement and tree removal are allowed. The commission is not comfortable with the grading, leveling, and installation of a retaining wall at this time. Before I ask for a second for that, Lauren, does that kind of cover me as to what we were saying?
Yes, I would think it does.
Okay. All right. In that case, do I hear a second for issuing that -3 determination?
Second.
All right. All those in favor, starting with Sue,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
and Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. Pearson, I'm guessing probably either Lauren or Rebecca will follow up with you probably tomorrow once we, and so once we issue the RDA or once in order the process of us getting it signed and getting it to you and all of that good stuff.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night. All right. So next
Brian?
up go ahead, Scott.
Brian,
Yeah.
I just had something come in with a call that I have to take. So before you start in the next one, I need to step away. I checked with
Okay.
Lauren. You'll still have quorum after I step away.
Okay.
So
All right.
I apologize, but
No, thanks for stopping, in between hearings. And I think you got our only big public hearing tonight. So good luck on your other call, and I will talk to you later.
all right. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Nice. All right. So next up on our agenda, if we remember, last week we were asked to do a determination of applicability for Lot 4 Green Road. As it turned out, just the way that it was filed and what we're looking for, we were able to approve it under the town's bylaw, but we took no action under Mass General Law. And the applicant at the time said basically they were happy with us to take no action because they were actually going to withdraw that. So just so the public knows, they did indeed withdraw it. The RDA has been withdrawn under the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, for the determination of applicability for Lot 4 Green Road. Part 2 to this is we did issue a -3 determination, or negative. Were we negative? Yes, right. That's right. We issued a -3 determination under the bylaw. Upon review, Rebecca believes it should have been, if we're just issuing under the bylaw for the circumstances we were quoting, that it should be in fact a -6 determination under the bylaw. So she had asked tonight if we could take a roll call vote for an administrative correction to change the determination on the Bolton bylaw for the determination of applicability for Lot 4 Green Road, map 6.C, from a -3 to a -6 determination. Does that long-winded rambling thing make sense? People understand what we are trying to accomplish? All right.
Yes.
Anybody have any questions, concerns, or problems? Okay. In that case, I am going to call for a roll call vote. An I vote signifying that our determination to make an administrative correction to the determination of applicability for Lot 4 Green Road, map 6.C, under the Bolton bylaw from a -3 to a -6 determination. All those in favor, please say aye, starting with Sue.
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
and Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So next up, we had a parking request from the Bolton Conservation Trust. They hold their annual meeting at Bowers Springs, and they had requested possibly parking on adding additional parking on the upper and lower fields when you first pull into Bowers Springs. Rebecca had questioned if it was if they were amenable, if it might not be better to allow parking along the main trail, kind of as you go into Bowers. It's already kind of a pretty compacted cart path, and to allow parking on the shoulders there. I'm not sure if is there a rep or somebody from the trust here tonight?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, Drew, this is great because I wanted to ask, would that work for you guys to ask people to park along that road going in as opposed to parking in the field?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the past we've used the field, so that's why we requested the field.
Yep.
You know, I feel like it might just have a long line of cars versus like, you know, kind of more compacted area down by the field, but you know, whatever the commission is comfortable with, yeah, we're open to it.
I was going to say to Drew's point there too. This is something we have for newer members. This is something we have approved of in the past for the Conservation Trust to have their annual meeting there. And as you said, I know we've had parking on the fields before. And again, it was just Rebecca took a look at it and said, you know, it might be better to park them along kind of the hard packed shoulder of that main drag rather than on the fields. Again, I like I said, I was hoping you or somebody else would be here tonight. I am somewhat comfortable either way. If she thinks it will have less impact along the shoulder of that road, I'd kind of lean more that way, just because less impact is usually better. But I'm curious if other commission members have comments, thoughts, questions, strong feelings one way or the other.
Quick question, Joe. How many cars do you anticipate?
Based on past events, we'd be thrilled if we got like 50 total people, thinking like 2 people per car, that's 25 cars, right? Roughly, you know, rough number,
Yeah.
maybe some will come with more, some will come with less.
Yeah.
You know, about 18 can fit in the main lot if we squeeze it tight, you know, so maybe 7 on the road portion, but you know, could that go up to 10 with some of the rounding? You know,
Yeah.
that's my best guess at this point, but it's, you know, it's hard to plan for some of these things, but just based on past experience, that's the available data I have.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can fit that many cars down the path. So that's the only thing I'd be concerned about, is that you're in out of room.
Yeah. Lauren, are you able to pull up the picture?
Sure.
Because I had a similar thought, Jim, about like, all right, to Drew's point, you know, if you have 20 cars going down that road, it could be a pain to get them out, and people trying to do 5-point turns, somebody who wants to leave early, all of this good stuff. So the red is the, say, upper field, right? Upper part of the field. And I think that's where people parked in the past, Drew, or was it all upper and lower?
Yeah, I think when the town did the fishing derby thing during when camp was going on, they was worried about a lack of parking. So I think the camp staff who normally parks in the lot parked in that upper part of the field. And we were just going off the same precedents.
All right. So if we were to say possibly that additional parking should be encouraged along the Bowers Trail, or however we want to say what that road is, that additional parking should be encouraged along the Bowers Trail, but the upper part of the field can be used for overflow parking as well.
Yeah.
Would that kind of make sense? So like try to encourage if you go over the parking lot, try to encourage the first few cars to park along that trail. And if you start getting, a bunch more people coming in, or 1 or 2 come late, you want to put them in the upper part of the field, I think that would be fine. Does that make sense?
No, that sounds like a perfect arrangement.
All right. Commission members comfortable with that?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Any members of the public here tonight that wish to comment on this particular discussion? Seeing none. All right. In that case, I'm going to call for a roll call vote. that parking for the Bolton Conservation Trust's annual meeting at Bowers Spring on Saturday, June 27th, 2026, with a rain date of Sunday, June 28th. The commission will allow additional parking outside of the parking lot. That additional parking should be encouraged along the initial Bowers Cart Path Trail, with any overflow parking being moved into the upper part of the field as displayed at this evening's meeting. All those in favor of allowing for that, please say aye, starting with Sue,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
and Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. Good luck with the meeting, Drew.
All right, thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Take care. Not much left. So just enforcement order updates. 30 North Road, they have submitted, I believe, an NOI. They have submitted a remediation plan, I think, via NOI. It is, I think, one of the first hearings at our next meeting. So they are moving towards compliance. They have submitted a plan. So that is good progress there. There is another possible enforcement order noticed on North Road. They were issued a cease and desist letter from Rebecca, and I believe right now they have 7 days to respond to. They're within their 7-day window to respond to that letter, so there may be more on that right now. But there was a cease and desist letter sent regarding some significant clearing and some potential earthwork that had been done. But more on that at our next meeting, most likely. Inside the packet are the minutes for our February. Wow. Our May 5th, 2026 meeting. Does anybody have any edits, corrections, or changes to those minutes? Or does anybody need more time to read through those minutes? Seeing none. All right. In that case, I'm going to make a motion that we approve the minutes for our May 5th, 2026 meeting as drafted and submitted at this evening's meeting. Do I hear a second for minutes?
Second.
All right. All those in favor, starting with Sue,
Aye.
Paul,
Abstain.
Jim,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
and Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
Okay, thank you.
You. I was gonna say, I don't believe we have any other updates. I was gonna say nothing I missed, Lauren.
Nope.
Well, commission members have any new business, anything they would like to see added to our next agenda? Seeing none. Wow. All right. In that case, I would like to make a motion that we adjourn our Tuesday, May 19th, 2026 meeting of the Bolton Conservation Commission. Do I hear a second for adjourning?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Sue,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
and Lauren, I'm an aye as well.